Welcome to one and all. I am Miss Premal Popat and today we are going to study the fourth module of the chapter Heat, and this is the 10th standard topic from Science and Technology Part 1. And in this module we are going to study about specific heat capacity and heat exchange. So let's begin with the module. Specific heat capacity. To understand this topic, we are going to perform an experiment. So the materials required for this experiment are a tray with thick layer of wax, and we can see in the figure that there is a tray of a thick layer of wax which is silver in color, solid spheres of iron, lead and copper which should be of equal mass, burner or spirit lamp and a large beaker. So let's move on with the procedure. The first step is to take 3 spheres of iron, copper and lead of equal masses. Then we have to put all the 3 spheres in the boiling water in the beaker for some time. Iron, copper and lead spheres which are of equal masses, we should put it in a boiling water in a beaker for some time, and then take the 3 spheres out of the water. All the spheres will be at temperature of 100 degree Celsius. Put them immediately on the thick slab of wax. So after putting it immediately on the thick slab of wax, we are going to note down the depth that each of the sphere goes into the wax. So this is the procedure of the experiment. So what are the observations of this experiment? In the figure, we see the specific heat capacity of the metals. That is, there is a wax layer over here. I am marking it with red color. So this is the wax layer which is gray in color, and this is the first sphere which is of iron, second one is of copper and the third one is of lead. And we have put all these 3 spheres into the thick wax layer. So what do we see? The sphere which absorbs more heat from the water will give more heat to wax. Like firstly, we had put all these 3 spheres in the boiling water so that these 3 spheres will get heated. So what it says, the sphere which absorbs more heat from the water. Now these spheres, that all the 3 spheres, that is the iron, copper and lead, has acquired some amount of heat energy. Why? Because we had put that all these spheres in the boiling water. So these spheres have absorbed some amount of heat energy, and more the heat energy from water, they will give more heat to wax. So what does this line indicates? It indicates that more wax will thus melt and the sphere will go deeper in the wax. So we can say more the heat energy, more the heat is given to the wax. Since more heat is given to the wax, the wax will melt because of the heat energy given by the spheres, and more it will go deeper into the wax. Like from the figure we can say that the iron is the one which has penetrated more into the layer of wax. Okay, then second one comes the copper followed by lead. So what we can say, it can be observed that iron sphere goes deepest into the wax. And why does it go deepest into the wax? Because it has acquired more amount of heat energy. And the lead sphere goes the least and copper sphere goes to the intermediate depth. That means it is between iron and lead. This shows that for equal rise in temperature, the 3 spheres have absorbed different amounts of heat. What do we understand from this? For equal rise in temperature, like the boiling water was at 100 degrees Celsius, so these three spheres, that is the iron, copper and lead, were put into the same amount of temperature, right? And all these three spheres have absorbed different amount of heat energy from the boiling water. And that is why we can see the different paths covered by three spheres. Iron being the first, followed by copper, and the last one is the lead. So what do we understand from this experiment or from these observations? We understand that the property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by a sphere. Now all these three spheres had absorbed some amount of heat energy from the boiling water, right? So the amount of heat absorbed by a sphere is different for all three spheres. But naturally the amount of heat absorbed is different for all the three spheres, and that is why they have covered different distances, right? So this property is called specific heat capacity. Again I will repeat, the property which determines the amount of heat absorbed by a sphere is different for all these spheres. That means the amount of heat absorbed by the object will be different depending upon the type of the material, because all the materials have different properties. And this property, that is the absorption of heat by a sphere, is known as the specific heat capacity. So how do we define specific heat of an object? The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius. It is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius. The temperature is 1 degree Celsius, is called the specific heat of that object. And the specific heat capacity is denoted by letter C. The SI unit of specific heat is joule upon kilogram degree Celsius, and when we convert it into CGS unit, it is joule becomes calorie, kilogram becomes gram, and degree Celsius is the same in both the cases. So the CGS unit is calorie upon gram degree Celsius. Now here are different substances. There is water, paraffin, kerosene and aluminium, and the specific heat for all the substances is different. Like for water it is 1, for paraffin it is 0.4, for kerosene it is 0.52, aluminium the specific heat is 0.215, and there are also iron, copper, silver and mercury, and the specific heat for iron is 0.110, for copper 0.095, silver 0.056 and mercury 0.033. And this table is there in your textbook, you can refer it. Specific heat capacity, we have already studied the definition, which is the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 kg of material by, or a unit mass of a material by 1 degree Celsius. And the formula for specific capacity or specific heat capacity is E equals m into C into delta T. E is nothing but the energy absorbed, which is in joules, m is mass in kg, C is specific heat capacity, which is joule upon degree Celsius into kilograms or grams, and delta T is nothing but the change in temperature, which is measured in degree Celsius. Delta means change. Okay, change in a particular parameter. Now students, over here we are calculating the energy absorbed. That means the amount of heat energy needed to raise the temperature. Okay, when we have to, or when the energy is needed to raise the temperature, the energy is absorbed by the object. Okay, when the energy is needed to raise the temperature, it is absorbed by the object. Now, what is specific heat capacity? When an amount of energy is needed to reduce the temperature. Now, over here, the energy is needed to reduce the temperature of a material by 1 degree Celsius. When we have to reduce the temperature, energy is lost by an object. Why? Because we are reducing the temperature. That means heat energy is lost by the object, and that is why the temperature is reduced. So the formula is same, E equals m into C into delta T. So E is energy lost, m is mass in kg, C is specific heat capacity, which is joule upon kg into degree Celsius, and delta T is change in temperature, which is measured in degree Celsius. And the second topic for this module is heat exchange. The name only suggests us heat exchange, that means heat energy is exchanged from one object to another, or it is transferred from one object to another. Over here we can see a warmer object which is on the left hand side. I'll mark it with blue color. I'll circle it. This is the warmer object, and on the right hand side there is a cooler object. So here heat exchange is occurring. That means heat is transferred from warmer object to cooler object. Okay. So if heat is exchanged between a hot and a cold object, the temperature of the cold object goes on increasing due to gain of energy, and the temperature of the hot object goes on decreasing due to loss of energy. Now over here, between the warmer object and a cooler object, heat transfer or heat exchange is occurring. That means the warmer object is transferring its heat energy to the cooler object. So what can we understand from this? The temperature of the cold object. So T is temperature. Okay. Here I'll mention T for temperature. So the temperature of this cooler object will go on increasing. Now students, this is a thermometer. I'll just mark it with small t. So this on both hand sides, these are the thermometers. I will mark it with small t. So what we can say, when the heat is transferred from warmer object to cooler object, the temperature of the cooler object will increase. Okay, I'll mark it with different arrows so it becomes easy for us to understand. So the temperature of this cooler object will increase because it has gained some heat energy, but naturally the temperature of the warmer object will decrease. Why? Due to the loss of heat energy. And the change in temperature continues till the temperatures of both the objects attain the same value. Now this heat exchange or heat transfer will continue. Now till when will it continue? It will go on till the temperatures of both the objects attain the same value. Now suppose, we'll take an example. Now suppose the temperature of the warmer object is 60. Okay. The temperature of the warmer object is 60 and the temperature of the cooler object is 20. So heat exchange between these two objects will take place till when? Till both attain the same value. Suppose for example, I'll take 40. when the temperature of both these objects, that is the warm and cooler objects, reach 40 degrees Celsius, till this time heat exchange will take place. Now this example I have taken it just for our understanding. For different objects the temperatures will be different, and in this process the cold object gains heat energy and the hot object loses heat energy. We already know that during the heat transfer, cooler object will gain some amount of heat energy and warmer object will lose some amount of heat energy, and due to this transfer they will attain the same value, and till this time heat exchange will take place. Principle of heat exchange. If the system of both the object is isolated from the environment, we have isolated the hot object and cold object from the environment. But how? By keeping it in a heat resistant box. Now when a hot object and a cold object is kept inside a heat resistant box and it is isolated from the environment. Isolated meaning that the heat exchange between the environment and the box won't take place. But the heat exchange will take place between these two objects, that is hot and cold object. So that means there is no energy flow from inside the box or coming into the box. In this situation, we get the following principle. And which is the principle? Heat energy lost by the hot object. So this heat energy lost by the hot object is equal to heat energy gained by the cold object. Now we know that the warmer object, heat transfer will take place between an hot object and a cold object. Okay. So the warmer object or the hot object will give its heat energy to cold object. So the temperature of the hot object will go on decreasing and the temperature of the cold object will go on increasing. So how do we define this principle of heat exchange? It is heat energy lost by the hot object is equal to heat energy gained by the cold object. Why is it same? In the previous slide we have studied that heat exchange will take place till what point? It will take place till the temperature of both the objects are not same, and that is why we conclude over here that the energy lost by the hot object is equal to energy gained by the cold object. So this is the principle of heat exchange. Now let us understand the measurement of specific heat. Specific heat is measured by mixing method and calorimeter. The specific heat of an object can be measured using mixing method, and we'll understand about this method in the later slide. For this a calorimeter is used. Now what is a calorimeter? The picture is displayed on the slide. So calorimeters are an essential part of calorimetry, measuring the quantity of heat transferred to or from an object. So these calorimeters are used to measure the heat exchange between the objects. Over here we can see a display and buttons. So from this, and there is a box and the objects are placed inside the box, and these calorimeters are used to measure the specific heat capacity. Okay, so here we can see what is inside the calorimeter. There is oxygen inlet. There is a precision thermometer used to measure the temperature of the water. There is a sample cup inside a box, and there are two electrodes, and there is a display. So if a hot solid object is put in the water in a calorimeter, so when the hot solid object is put inside a calorimeter, heat exchange between the hot object and the water will take place and the calorimeter starts. So heat exchange starts. This continues till the temperature of the solid object, water, and the calorimeter become equal. So this heat exchange will take place till the temperature of all three things, that is the solid object, the water and the calorimeter becomes equal. And here the thermometer is placed to measure the temperature of water. So therefore the heat lost by the solid object is equal to heat gained by water in the calorimeter plus heat gained by the calorimeter. Now the hot object is warmer, that means the temperature of the hot object is more. So this hot object will transfer its heat energy to water and the calorimeter. Okay. So the heat lost by the solid object is equal to heat gained by the water in calorimeter. So heat gained by the water in calorimeter plus heat gained by the calorimeter, where all these things are placed. Over here, heat is lost by one object and heat is gained by two objects, that is the water and the calorimeter itself. So heat lost by the solid object, which is denoted by Q, is equal to mass of the solid object into its specific heat into decrease in temperature. So with the help of this formula, we can calculate the heat lost by the solid object. We should know the mass of the object, its specific heat, and how much heat energy it has given to the object. That means its decrease in temperature. Similarly, heat gained by water, which we denote by Q1, is equal to mass of the water into the specific heat of water into increase in its temperature. Why increase? Because the temperature has gained heat energy, and that's why increase in the temperature. Similarly, heat gained by calorimeter denoted by Q2 is equal to mass of the calorimeter into its specific heat into increase in its temperature. So finally we come to a formula, which is heat lost by the hot object is equal to heat gained by calorimeter plus heat gained by water. Now we denote the heat lost by solid object by Q and the heat gained by water in the calorimeter by Q1 and heat gained by calorimeter Q2. So we get Q is equal to Q2 plus Q1. Using these equations, if the specific heat of water and the calorimeter are known, the specific heat of the solid object can be calculated. That means if the specific heat of both the objects, that is the calorimeter and water, are known, we can calculate the specific heat of a solid object. So this is how the specific heat of an object is calculated by using calorimeter. So in today's module, we have studied about the specific heat capacity, how to measure the specific heat capacity, and the heat exchange. In the next module, we will be continuing with the chapter. Thank you so much, students, for your attention.